Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we are entering the land of emotional intelligence along with social skills, and I'm going to be talking about why kids and parents no longer talk. Roughly 20 years ago, I recall I was one time in New York, and I heard a story about a girl who was getting married to this guy, and her parents were not cool with that. The parents told the girl many times, do not date this guy. Don't get married. Okay, stop at the dating phase. But she wouldn't listen. And what eventually happened was that this girl cut off all contact with her parents to be with this guy. Plenty of people in New York were talking about this story. And that story went from New York all the way to Florida. 20 years ago, a girl, a son, whatever, no longer talking to their parents, it was seen as a big thing. News that would travel from New York all the way to Florida and eventually the world. Nowadays, though, it's not seen as big news. It's more common. There are plenty of kids that are cutting off all contact with their parents. And it's happening so much that these parents that are estranged with their kids, they're creating these YouTube channels nowadays. There's actually a YouTube channel where moms who no longer talk to their daughters, they have this YouTube channel where they serve as a resource for other parents who are losing contact with their kids. I thought, what the heck? Why is this becoming so common? So what I did was I observed people close to me and people far away from me as to why many more kids are no longer returning their parents' phone calls. So in my closer crew, I don't really know these people like that, but I know them enough to ask them some questions. One reason that they are not talking to their parents, it's because of priorities with life. And these priorities, it could be something job related or it could be something kids related. For the jobs, there are plenty of, I would say, doctors in the making that cut off all contact with their parents. Because I would say the parents, specifically parents from the Desi community, they view being a doctor as that gold staple. If you're a doctor, then you made it. So these parents, they will pretty much create the curriculum for their child's life when they're 5 years old. They're saying to this 5-year-old kid, you will one day become a doctor and you will make us proud. Any doctor that you see, by the way, they did not just stumble into that position. Their life was pretty much engineered for them. So this 5-year-old is growing up and eventually he's in med school. He's studying to be a doctor. He's almost at the finish line. And that's when he realizes something. He never chose this life. He didn't want to be a doctor. His parents wanted him to be a doctor. So last minute, he's like, look, I can't do this. I want to be a video game developer. And the parents are like, what the heck? No, you are going to be a doctor. And at this point, this kid is no longer just a 5-year-old. He's 35 years old. And he's like, no, I am not going to be a doctor. You know what, mom, dad, you can't make me. And just like that, he cuts off all contact with his parents. And the parents are not trying to initiate contact either because they're like, we came to this country. We worked so hard so you could be a doctor while we worked in these gas station jobs and you're so ungrateful. And due to the difference in priorities, just like that, the relationship breaks apart. So this is one reason that a lot of kids nowadays, they're not talking to their parents. It could be some sort of conflict with a career. It could be some sort of conflict with personal decisions. I know girls that are not talking to their parents because these girls, let's say they're 33 years old, they're single, and anytime they talk to their parents, the parents are always like, you still don't have a husband. What is wrong with you? And the girl is like, I want to be single for the rest of my life. And the parents, they don't like that. the girl doesn't like that, the parents doesn't like that, and she's like, I have so much stress in my life. I'm going to therapy and doing all this other stuff. I don't want more stress from you guys. Heck, my therapist says that I get most of my stress because of you guys. I'm going to cut off all contact. So that is one predominant reason I would say a lot of kids cut off contact with their parents. It's due to difference in priorities. Another reason that kids cut off contact with their parents is because some sort of betrayal was involved. Now, this is from stuff that I've seen in content, stuff that's really far away from me. I've never seen this happen directly to someone that I know. It's mainly from these TikTok and YouTube videos. I don't know how legitimate they are, but I have heard stories of parents backstabbing a kid. And it could be in something weird like stealing money, or it could even be snatching the kid's love interest. There was this one girl who said that she cut off all contact with her mom because her mom stole her girlfriend. I thought, man, this sounds like a Jerry Springer episode. Is this real? I'm just going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say it's real. So for reason number 2, a lot of reasons that kids cut off contact with their parents is because some sort of malicious act was involved, and this was betrayal. Betrayal, which calls for ending the relationship. The third reason that kids are cutting off contact with their parents is because of information technology. Before we had the smartphone, for some reason, we just didn't ever think of cutting off contact with anyone. But nowadays, it's as simple as not picking up the phone. Sure, you could not pick up the phone with landlines, but you have to be a 90s baby to understand this. When the landline was ringing, for whatever reason, we felt compelled to pick it up. Even if we knew that the person calling us was one of those telemarketers, we would still pick up the call, especially on landlines. But with the cell phone, for whatever reason, we are much more inclined not to pick up the phone calls. If we pick it up, that's rare. Like we'll text, we may email back, but picking up phone calls, that's rare. There are a few people who we will pick up phone calls for, but if these few people, they start to cause a drama, then we're like, you know what? I'm not going to pick up your phone calls either. So this is another reason that I would say a lot of kids are no longer returning their parents' calls. It's because for some reason with smartphones, it's just easier not to pick up the phone calls, and it's easier not to make the phone calls. Where with landlines, it was a different perspective. So due to the introduction of the smartphone, many people are just quick to end relationships too quick. This is one reason. And I would say the fourth reason that a lot of kids are cutting off contact with their parents is not because of what happened now, it's because of what happened in the past. This is when the kid, he's a 25-year-old guy right now, but subconsciously, he's still that little boy. He's still that little boy who was really scared of his dad. The dad would come home drunk, would beat up anyone in sight, would break things. And that little boy, when he was going to grow up, he was going to stand up to his dad. And now he's a grown up. The dad hasn't touched alcohol in 8 years. He's 8 years sober. But this guy, all he remembers is the past. So even though everything is going well, for whatever reason, the subconscious memories are there. And the kid is like, you know what? I feel like you're getting off a little too easily. I know you have changed. I know you have not drank alcohol for 8 years, but I don't think you should get off scotch-free. I'm not going to talk to you for some time. And just like that, they don't talk for who knows how long. So these are a couple of reasons that kids are no longer talking to their parents. I would highly urge the people listening to this episode that, life is short. You never know when someone is going to die. So it is important to spark up the communication again. People are flawed. Unless they did something super malicious to you, do your best to spark up the interaction again. If you are the parent, you should be reaching out. If the kid isn't reaching out, give it a couple of years. And if you're one of the kids watching this video, Like I said, life is short. Do your best to reach out, process what you need to process, but then do your best to reach out. And hopefully you guys can find some sort of middle ground. I do know that a few of the reasons that I listed in today's episode, it's difficult to find a middle ground. What is the parents going to do when they really want their kid to be a doctor? The kid is like, I really don't want to be a doctor. That is beyond the scope of today's talk. The main thing I would highly urge is to create bridges rather than build walls. So if you enjoyed today's talk, drop that like for me right on below and hit subscribe to never miss another one of my videos again. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will catch you next time.